March 11, 2020. That date is burned into the memory of the Global Initiative staff. The world was turning upside down with the spread of coronavirus, and study abroad came to a screeching halt. That night, in what we now refer to as the midnight meeting, the Education Abroad team, along with President Crawford and some other university administrators, came together in the Great Room in Macmillan Hall to plot a strategy for bringing home over 230 Miami students who were studying abroad across the world. It was an unprecedented coordination of logistics. We had to consider students, parents, travel, financial aspects, and the logistical constraints presented by 32 different countries. We left that night and put a plan into action. Part of this plan was a strategy to support the students. They needed to process a global experience that was cut short. We focused on their well-being and resilience. We knew they had the capacity to recover from this and learn from it. We relied on virtual meetings and calls, just like everyone was doing at the time, just to talk and help them through their thoughts and understand the experiences they had through some storytelling. They needed to tell their stories, and they needed to listen to their peers' stories. But then we shifted again from challenge to opportunity. We started asking questions for students. What are the skills that they learned abroad that they can continue to tap into? And what new skills did they bring to bear in quickly spinning from a culture they were just beginning to learn to navigate coming home and continuing their experience virtually? For international education professionals, what did we learn that we could take to our practice from all of this? We asked, what did we learn about global travel, study, and education during a pandemic? How did a pandemic change how we consider borders and crossing borders for a cross-cultural experience? The answers were rooted in a new way to define study abroad. It was no longer strictly about students crossing national borders. Rather, it was coming to light as an educational framework that promotes the mobility of student minds. The pandemic forced us to better understand the idea that we really live in a borderless world. The pandemic didn't stop at borders. We could still engage the minds of students in confronting other cultures and other worldviews and overcoming their biases. In this global pandemic, we could innovate and move forward and reimagine how we engage with academically focused global travel. The Global Initiatives team summoned all of its courage we had to face the challenges presented. We harnessed the confidence of our faculty leaders and our professional international educators in global initiatives and at our Luxembourg campus. Just when we were finalizing the details that were a result of the midnight meeting, when at most universities study abroad had simply disappeared, we were diving back in, looking at the possibilities to get our faculty and students back to our campus in Luxembourg in the fall. It took courage, yes, but it also took collaboration between Miami and Oxford and our partners in Europe. But in August 2020, just 4 months after the midnight meeting, we reopened the Miami University Dalaboy European Center in Luxembourg. What we learned was that navigating travel and study abroad during a pandemic is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart, but it can be done. We had to do much deeper dives into every place students were traveling to and through. We had to understand how we could find the most effective and realistic ways to understand the health and safety aspects of the location and then mitigate them. That led to stronger health and safety measures as well as reinforced emergency protocols. We also learned from the previous few months when everyone went virtual that we could use that, we could harness that, we could increase our virtual outreach. Therefore, we were better able to reach those underrepresented students and increase their participation in study abroad. Study abroad was back. It was not the same, but it was back. Miami was only one of 2 universities, American universities, with programs operating in Europe in the fall of 2020. The pandemic emphasized what we already knew. Our most pressing challenges are inherently global in scope and impact. and this can only be addressed by people and nations working together. We came at this from what we knew, and we worked together. Miami University and Oxford, the Grand Duchy of Luxembourg, and the city of Differdange. We all came together to bring study abroad back to Miami, and from there we moved forward. We conceived of study abroad in new ways. Through some curricular modification, we found that we can design study abroad in a way that is far less course-centric and more organized around a global learning experience. Whatever that is in the location abroad, whether it's through a quick and unexpected pivot from study abroad to isolation at home, or it's in our classrooms on campus. We can design curriculum and pedagogy around the challenges, applying the knowledge and theory learned in the classroom to real-world problems and environments where the students are experiencing these real-world problems. In solution-based learning communities, we can observe the big problems that surround us wherever our students are, and we have an ideal context to research, analyze, and debate solutions. We learned that students want more than a study abroad experience. They want what we now call plus experiences: study abroad plus an internship, study abroad plus a global service learning opportunity, or study abroad plus research and internship. These high-impact experiences can be combined for real-world and authentic global experiences. Finally, it is imperative that we make study abroad opportunities accessible to all students. We must examine the barriers for students from underrepresented and historically marginalized groups and remove the barriers. We are seeing the results now of a pent-up desire for study abroad. Students are lining up for advising appointments and they're ready to go. And we know we're going to see record numbers in the next few years. But we're already considering, how do we maintain and sustain our progress? We're using some design thinking techniques to produce change, drive new ideas, and deliver high-impact programs. We will continue to review and revise to ensure we're meeting students' needs for the world they will go out into and make a difference. Just this past month, the Biden administration issued a statement that announced a renewed U.S. commitment to international education. This statement acknowledged the negative impact on international education out of the previous administration. This renewed commitment recognized that global academic ties through the exchange of students, teaching, ideas, and research are crucial for American security, prosperity, and innovation. What a relief. This was welcomed by the international education community. It signals there will be an advancement in rebuilding and restoring the U.S. engagement with the world. Our country has confirmed a commitment to international education, as Miami University had already confirmed our commitment through action. At Miami University, it affirms what we're doing and that our leaders were at the forefront with the courage to act boldly and definitively. And we had the wisdom to continue to provide an authentic global education, even in a pandemic. Miami University is on the right path. We will continue to be revolutionary leaders in study abroad now and into the future for the benefit of our students, our faculty, our staff, and the world.